Chidima and her mother, Kate, lived day to day, surviving by picking bottles off the streets. One morning, as Chidima bent to grab a bottle by the roadside, a speeding car nearly hit her. The furious driver stepped out and began shouting at Kate, accusing her of being an irresponsible mother who hadn't taught her child how to cross the road properly. Across the street, a woman named Agnes observed the scene. As Kate calmly reminded Chidima how to cross safely, in the backseat of Agnes's car, her teenage daughter Nicole grew impatient. She threw a bottle out of the window, which Chidima hurried to retrieve. Annoyed, Nicole told her mother she was tired and wanted to leave. As they drove off, Nicole asked why her mother had been staring at those dirty people. Agnes tried to explain she was just concerned, but Nicole scoffed, calling them peasants and accusing her mother of being too sentimental. Meanwhile, Kate and Chidima continued their search for food and bottles. At a garbage bin, a woman chased them away, reminding Kate she had recently given her a pot and kettle. She suggested Kate find something more meaningful to do with her life and enroll her daughter in school. Back at home, Nicole returned to a warm welcome from the household staff John and Horo. She rudely dismissed them, calling them poor, then demanded to know what Horo had prepared for dinner. When told it was yam and egg sauce, Nicole lashed out, reminding her for the umpteenth time that she didn't eat eggs because she was lactose intolerant. Agnes walked in just as Nicole accused Horo of being dumb. Embarrassed, Agnes apologized on her daughter's behalf. Chidima sat quietly beside her mother under the cold night sky. She asked why they were still suffering and whether their lives would ever change. Kate tried to soothe her, explaining that she had applied for many jobs but had always been turned down because she didn't graduate. For now, picking bottles was their only way to survive. At home, Agnes entered Nicole's room to scold her for insulting Horo. Nicole defended herself, saying that Horo was just a maid and didn't deserve respect. Agnes reminded her that every human being deserved dignity, regardless of their job. Changing the subject, she asked about Nicole's classwork. Nicole casually responded that her assignments were due the next day. Agnes urged her to prepare before dinner. Nicole pulled out her books and stared at them blankly, disappointment in her eyes. Frank, her father, came home in high spirits, announcing he had secured a $1 billion contract. The family decided to celebrate the good news. Later, Horo entered Nicole's room to call her for dinner. As she glanced at Nicole's books, she noticed the alarming grades 0/20, 0/10. Shocked, she was still holding them when Nicole came out of the bathroom. Furious, Nicole warned her never to touch her things again, threatening to have her fired. Not long after, Travis, a landowner, found Kate and Chidima living on his property. Kate explained that she'd been paying rent to a man named Cosmos, who denied everything. Travis, unmoved, destroyed their belongings and chased them away. Back at dinner, Nicole gushed about her father's business success and said it gave her more to brag about at school. Frank gently advised her not to brag but to remain humble and focused on her studies. Agnes reminded her that her teacher had expressed concerns about her grades. Nicole insisted she was doing well and claimed she had scored perfect marks. When Agnes asked Horo to bring her books, they showed exactly that 10/10s across the board. Everyone praised her, but Horo was confused. She was sure she had seen zeros earlier. Nicole had clearly altered the grades herself. The next morning, Horo served Nicole breakfast toast and tea. Nicole poured the tea on the bread in disgust and said never to prepare anything for her again without asking. Frank entered and asked why she hadn't eaten. Nicole lied, claiming Horo had refused to give her what she requested. Frank, unaware of the truth, told Horo to meet his daughter's demands. Elsewhere, Chidima woke up itchy and feverish from mosquito bites. Kate comforted her, saying this wasn't their permanent home and that better days were ahead. Back in the rich household, Horo confided in Agnes about Nicole's behavior. She explained that she was a graduate, forced into maid work due to unemployment. She handed over Nicole's books, exposing the fake grades. Agnes was stunned. That evening, when Nicole returned from shopping with Frank and her younger brother, Agnes confronted her about the lie. Nicole apologized. Agnes took away the gifts Frank had bought for her as a consequence. Once her mother left, Nicole turned to Horo and vowed revenge. One night, Chidima fell ill and vomited. Kate rushed to the pharmacy for medicine. Then came another blow. Agnes had to leave for a business trip. The same day, the owner of the storefront where Kate and Chidima had been sleeping returned and threw them out, destroying what little they had. Back at Agnes's home, Horo had briefly stepped out while cooking. When she returned, she found the food spoiled. Someone had added too much water. Nicole admitted to ruining it out of spite. When Horo tried to collect laundry from Nicole's room, a confrontation broke out. Nicole screamed, claiming Horo had slapped her. Frank fired Horo on the spot despite her protests. On a random day, Frank saw Chidima sleeping by the roadside but continued driving, too busy to stop. Soon after, a commotion erupted outside Agnes's home. Kate was being accused of theft while collecting bottles. Agnes stepped in. Upon learning that Kate was a single mother who couldn't afford school fees, Agnes made a life-changing decision. She offered Kate and Chidima shelter and work. Nicole and Frank returned home to find Chidima and Kate inside. Nicole was enraged, accusing her mother of bringing strangers into their home. Chidima tried to introduce herself, but Nicole lashed out, calling her a peasant. Despite Nicole's protests, Agnes insisted they would stay. Frank enrolled Chidima in school. Kate began work. Chidima, overwhelmed with gratitude, was determined to succeed. Nicole, however, felt threatened. She insulted Chidima, rejected her kindness, and became hostile when Chidima referred to her as a friend. Later, Agnes asked Chidima why she looked upset. After hearing about the insult, Agnes promised to talk to Nicole, but Nicole locked her door and refused to speak. One day, Nicole found Chidima playing with her old teddy bear and screamed at her. Chidima ran off, heartbroken. Agnes and Kate chased after her, eventually bringing her home. Agnes, furious, confronted Nicole. When Nicole stormed off to her room, Agnes followed with a slipper in hand. Frank reminded Nicole of the values they stood for. He had always helped those in need, and now, it was time she did the same. The next morning, Nicole learned that Chidima had been enrolled in the same school as her. She protested, worried about her social image. She accused Chidima of stealing her mother and now, her father. Kate told Chidima to ignore the cruelty and focus on her goals. Days passed. Chidima began excelling in school. Nicole's lies continued, but her teachers had already raised the alarm. Agnes warned Nicole, if her grades didn't improve, she would be transferred to public school. Eventually, Nicole, overwhelmed by her failing grades and Chidima's quiet resilience, broke down. One evening, she approached Chidima. For the first time, she apologized. Chidima forgave her. They began studying together. Slowly, a bond formed not out of obligation, but choice. Months later, both girls returned home with glowing results. Agnes, beaming with pride, took them out for ice cream. Two girls, one born into wealth, the other into hardship, now walked side by side. Sisters by circumstance. Family by